Newtown Creek is an estuary bordering Brooklyn and Queens. It is one of the most heavily polluted bodies of water in the world today. It has long been a dumping area for oil companies, heavy industry, and scrap metal yards. The EPA has reported that Standard Oil, now known as ExxonMobil, has leaked over 17 million gallons of oil into the creek over a period of decades, more than the estimated total recently leaked into the Gulf of Mexico and the notorious Valdez oil spill. Newtown Creek is also home to the largest wastewater treatment plant in the city. Sewage from half of Manhattan, parts of Brooklyn, and parts of Queens run through this facility. Approximately 235 million gallons of water are treated daily. For years, residents have complained of the stench and filth that bathes Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and Maspeth, Queens. Only recently has there been significant progress. An upgrade and expansion of Newtown Creek plant has been implemented, allowing it to better handle the city's waste. The federal government is also now considering granting Newtown Creek Superfund status, which would mandate ExxonMobil to pay for a long and arduous cleanup of the creek.
Well, the plant is constantly expanding. We right now have a $4 billion upgrade. We probably have close to $3 billion completed already.
What happens to the waste after the water is treated?
Sludge is pumped to the sludge barge out in the East River dock, where it is taken to other treatment facilities for further processing, where we make sludge cake, if you would.
What is the potential for adverse effects on the Greenpoint community due to combined sewage overflow?
No, generally we could take about 600 million gallons of water a day. We are designed to do 2 times dry weather. We get up in around 600 million gallons a day. We're pretty stable. It's pretty fast moving, but we're holding our own.
How will the expansion of the plant impact the community?
Along with some of the construction that has taken place, we've lent to the community's needs by keeping the fence up, keeping the place clean, cooperating with odor control, which we have down to a minimum. We've also built a nature walk, which is used heavily now by the community, and we just opened the visitor center, which gives the neighboring public or anybody that wants to stop by a little bit of a look as to what happens here at the plant.
What is your opinion on designating Newtown Creek a Superfund site?
I don't know. Again, that's really a lot of science involved, a lot of water testing involved to really, I guess, label it a Superfund site. But I don't know. I guess I'll leave that to the scientists.
What's the DEP's role in the future of Newtown Creek?
But I guess that we have a responsibility to keep the creek clean, at least free of just construction debris, which we haven't had any issue with that over the past few years. Our discharge right now is in the East River. If we had to go to the creek, we could go to the creek, but we don't. I would think the role is to just try to keep it clean, monitor it, and then go from there.
Federal government came forward and said that they might list it as, put it on their list.
The Superfund?
As the Superfund, yes, and that would help, I guess, with the cleanup. The only problem is that takes forever, and so maybe I may not see it, but you might see it. The creek has been progressively getting better, and that's important to understand. And it's getting better because the laws are in place. There is Riverkeeper, I don't know if you heard of the organization, who's come out to the creek and who's really watching very closely. The nature walk that we built here is right at the creek, so a lot of people go there and they observe all of these different companies working, and if they see that things aren't done well, they call and these companies get cited. So there is less of a, all of that stuff being dumped into the creek, right? So it is, and of course this plant is the water that goes into the creek. It's much more cleaner than it has ever been. So all of that really makes the creek much more cleaner, but it will take the federal government to come in and really to clean the sediment, because that's just not going to happen through, just these things. Yeah.
So you see a future for...
Yeah, I do.
The future of Newtown Creek rests in designating it a Superfund site. Although this has its disadvantages, it is ultimately the fairest and most reliable way to clean up the river. Like the Gowanus, polluters must be made to pay, not taxpayers. It is up to the federal government to rectify past wrongdoings. Only then may Newtown Creek begin to shine.